Hey, what's up guys? Space Ghost 506E here, and today we're going to be taking a first look at The Witcher 2 for the PC. Now for those of you that don't know, The Witcher 2 is a role-playing game developed by CD Projekt Red and produced by Atari. It just came out last week, and this video is going to be showing off some gameplay footage, and I'm going to be kind of commentating and giving my first impressions of the game. So let's go ahead and get started. The Witcher 2 is going to be kind of like any other role-playing game, a la Mass Effect or Dragon Age or those kind of like choice-driven open world-ish role-playing games. And in the game, you're going to be in between combat encounters. You'll be making choices that affect the rest of the storyline. So we won't be able to see a whole lot of non-combat encounters in this demo, or well, this gameplay video here, but I'm going to be showing off a lot of the combat, which is actually quite enjoyable. One couple things I want to note about The Witcher before we get started. It is a mature game, and it deserves the mature title. There's nudity in the game, language, there's all sorts of stuff, a lot of adult themes. There's racism, drug trafficking. I mean, it well deserves the mature title, so this is not a game for kids. That being said, if it's the mature level of content is used for the most parts. In the most parts, it's used tastefully. They're not just dropping the F-bomb just to drop the F-bomb. It's usually to build a certain character or establish a caste system, whereas the lower caste are going to be obviously using heavier language than the upper caste. All right, so what you're seeing now is this is your meditation menu, and in this menu you can do several things. Right now I'm drinking potions to prepare for the upcoming combat, which, I mean, I'm obviously walking into a combat situation. So I'm going to drink a couple potions here. One of them is going to allow me to regain health more quickly during combat, and the other one's going to increase my sword damage. So they're just basic potions. I really don't know what I'm going to be up against, so I'm just trying to prepare in the best way I can without knowing what I'm going into. The combat in the game is action based and it's timing based, so there's a lot of player skill involved. You'll be dodging enemy attacks. You have two weapons in the game, which is a little bit less than the first Witcher, although in the first Witcher you had a bunch of useless weapons basically. But your two weapons in the game are your silver sword and your steel sword. Your silver sword being for monsters and the steel sword being for humans. And each one will do more or less damage depending on what you're fighting. So obviously if you're hitting silver, or if you're attacking monsters, you're going to be wanting to use the silver sword. So what I was just doing there, that was the alchemy menu, and you can create all sorts of alchemical potions or oil to apply to your sword. So right now I'm going to go ahead and apply another oil to my silver sword to make it do even more damage. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go ahead and jump down here. One more thing to note, my companion here is a character by the name of Triss Marigold, and she's one of the major characters in the game. She is the Witcher's, she is your lover and main companion. She's a mage. She'll be helping you out a lot in the game. She was in the first game, and she's a pretty integral part of the story. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and set a trap down here. That trap's going to burst into flames when enemies step on it. Ooh, that was a little too close. Okay, backing up a little bit. This menu right here allows you to select different spells and inventory items during combat, and it'll kind of slow things down for a minute, so you can also take a step back and see what's going on. The combat in the game is very fast, and you have to have the timing just right in order to dodge attacks and block and etc. I'm not all that great at it. As you can see, I'm getting hit quite a few times in there. So I'm going to go ahead and back off. The spell I've selected right now is called the Quinn sign, and it allows you to soak up a lot of damage without actually losing any vitality off your health meter there. It's kind of like a backup button after you've lost a whole bunch of your health. Go ahead and throw a bomb in there. That'll stun them for a little bit, jump in, get a few attacks out, and then dodge back. See if I can put the... well, there's only one left. Let's go ahead and take him out.
Nice to run into some old friends.
The creatures we were just fighting there were called drowners, and they're these monsters that inhabit swamp areas, and they'll come up and drown their unsuspecting victims. Alright. Let's go ahead and look around here. don't think I mentioned this earlier, but right now I'm following the main quest storyline, and we are searching this wreckage here for evidence of this monster that's been terrorizing the local town, Flotsam. And the monster is called the Kran, which is kind of like a river kraken, I guess. It's a big octopus kind of thing living in the swamps in the river, and it's just recently started terrorizing this town. So you, as a witcher, are a monster hunter and have been hired to take it out. So right now we are investigating the wreckage of its latest attack, or one of its latest attacks, for some mucus nearby, and we just searched the ship. This will start, I think it starts up another side quest where we have to deliver a message that was found on the ship and search for it's another ship, I think that's what that said, partnership, something like that. So that's a side quest, but let's go ahead and continue with the main quest here, looking for the mucus. Alright, and I'm having a hard time finding this, so let's go ahead and consult the map. All the quest locations in the game are marked, so you just kind of, using this quest log here, you select what quest you're currently doing, and it'll point you in the right direction. They're not, all the markers aren't exactly spot on, but they're pretty close.
Wait a minute.
What are you going to do?
And here's the mucus right here.
Just a simple diagnostic spell. It should
So
answer
Triss
it.
is going to go ahead and check it out.
This monster's sick, Geralt. It's
And
dying.
here's some dialogue for you. There's not gonna be any choices or anything like this, but the you can tell the voice acting is pretty good in the game, and most of the talking animation is pretty well done. I don't know if you're really gonna be able to see it in this video. Depending on the quality of the video, the words might not match up. I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna look, but hopefully you can kind of see how the voice acting is going.
Healthy cells, but they're out of control. They converge to create a red tissue. Very unpleasant.
The poor thing.
But you brought up an interesting point. Want to know the core difference between mutants and non-mutants?
Of course I do.
The changes made through alchemy and magic in your body would require thousands of years to develop on their own. This development would result from genetic errors that would cause your body to adapt, become a more efficient
Get a little
organism.
biology lesson from Triss here.
When this development occurs over millennia, across multiple generations, we proudly call it natural selection, evolution. When it occurs quickly, in a single organism or a few representatives of a species, we frown on it as mutation.
And here I thought you liked me. What else?
The Karen's highly venomous.
So what gives Witchers their power, if you don't know the backstory, they're mutated humans that have,
But if I were you,
I forget what
rely on my mutations alone.
it's explained in the first one a lot, really well.
I know the earth
They're
will have
mutated
the
in
faintest
order
but I
to
might
be able to
find
hunt
it
monsters and things like that, and I think they were designed to be like the saviors of humanity or something like that. I really don't know the entire backstory behind
Do
them.
what you will,
But basically,
but
they've been
don't say I
mutated,
didn't
and
warn
that's what
you.
gives them kind of superhuman
Sheila
strength and
might
powers
be
and things
eager
like
to
that.
get this done.
And she's
But
kind of
before you go
discussing
see her,
his
ask some
whole
of the
being a
locals
mutant
about Osmark.
deal.
You
There.
could try Cedric. Here's the formula for the potion. I need to take care of some
Alright, so
things.
we've got to go find the
without it for a
Otsmirk
while?
potion. So let's go ahead and head back to town, and probably going to skip forward here a little bit. So there's Triss taking a little teleportation, just teleporting out there. And we've got to walk back to town on foot. Okay, so now we've headed back to town, and we are nearing. We've been told to go search for the Osmirk. I think one of the ingredients for the Osmirk potion over in these falls, the cave behind the falls that you're seeing here. So let's go ahead and investigate this. No telling what we're gonna find in here. There we go. That's a Necker. They did a nice job of making each monster and each species of monster kind of behave differently and require a different kind of combat style in order to defeat them. So these little guys, they're kind of like a pack mentality kind of deal, and they're weak by themselves and easy to take out, but once they start to swarm you, it gets really tough to handle all of them. So we'll see how many we can kind of encounter here. Usually they'll come at you in larger groups than just that, and they're really hard to take on once you get into group fights. One thing that I found a little frustrating about the game is enemies one-on-one are generally pretty easy to kill. I don't really have much problem with them, but when you get into a big group, it's hard to do anything because you're getting knocked back so many times. So it's just kind of hard to deal with all that. So what I'm trying to do now is just kind of dodge these attacks and kind of pick off the neckers one by one. We got 3 or 4 of them right now, and the bigger the guy is, the bigger neckers are obviously a little bit stronger. Okay, so they're starting to get a couple more on there. They've acknowledged my presence. Let's take this guy out real quick here. All right, that's a that's another sign that you can lay on the ground to stun them. I think we got the whole tribe of them after me right now. Yeah, that's a lot of them.
Damn it.
Now let's lay another trap thing down there. When you use your signs in the game, it takes up a certain amount of energy. Right now I only have 2/5 of the energy, so I can't be using a whole lot of signs. It also, in order to block enemies' attacks, you draw from the same energy pool. So if you're casting a whole bunch of signs and spells, you're not going to be able to block attacks. So you kind of have to find a balance between those two styles of play. So I just set a trap there, and that did some damage to him. A little AoE damage. I'm going to run in and try to get a couple of them real quick, and my health is getting extremely low. I'm going to back out and go ahead and cast Quinn again, because I'm not going to be able to take any more attacks from them. I'm whittling them down. There's one more. Keep dodging. Another one. Quinn is on a timer, so I think it's a 35-second timer. It'll block all damage, but when you take damage, the timer goes down by a certain amount depending on the strength of the attack. So you can't just sit in a fight and soak up damage for 35 seconds. So you can see Quinn just wore off real quick there. And we're down to one guy left right now. Ooh, he dodged my attack. Block his, take him out. Alright, let's go ahead and skip ahead here to the next part. I'm running short on time. Loot these guys. Okay, we're farther in the cave now, and we're going to be coming up on the location of the herb that I'm trying to find here. So let's go ahead and go back to the back of this. Oop, and there is a greater rock fiend. That's a big dude. So he's kind of like a boss monster. He's got a pretty large health pool, but one thing to notice is he's pretty easy to take down. Like I said before, oh, nice dodge. All right. The solitary monsters are a little bit easier than group fights, so I'm not really having much trouble taking this guy down. Back up. Weird. Okay, now let's find this herb. And this is going to wrap up the video, so I hope you've enjoyed my the first impressions of The Witcher 2 and have enjoyed watching this gameplay video. As always, be sure to comment, like, rate, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Just as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it.